Hi, Assalamualaikum. We continue our lecture on internal fertilization, still under chapter 9, reproduction in animals. For internal fertilization, what you have to know, the fertilization happen inside the parent's body. So it must involve the fusion of the eggs and the sperm. Okay, so both the egg and sperm must have in order to proceed with the internal fertilization. The process happen inside the mother's body by the process of copulation. So the terrestrial animals that live on darat typically use internal fertilization so as to prevent exposure and desiccation of gametes of embryo. So these are the importance of the internal fertilization. Okay, so it can prevent exposure and desiccation of gametes or embryos. The internal fertilization offer more protection to the gametes and embryo, but at a potential survival cost to the parent. Okay, dia memang ada protection lah untuk dia punya offspring sebab dia dalam parent body, tapi dia juga ada potential cost lah untuk parent. Okay, for external fertilization, the process is happen outside of the body parent. Okay, so this is very common among aquatic animals. So they need a medium to transfer their gametes outside, normally water. So this water, beside act as a medium, the water also help the sperm from the male organism to swim towards the egg. Okay, so this method of fertilization is susceptible to environmental influences such as predators and pH changes. That's why when the parent they produce the sperm and eggs, they will produce in large quantities. Okay, in order to strive to the outside environment. Okay, so that's why this method is susceptible to environmental influences, and consequently species that reproduce this way usually release large quantities of gametes, and the process of releasing the gamete into the water we call as spawning. So these are the example of the external fertilization happen among frogs. So now we go into pheromones. Pheromones is like a hormone. Okay, the structure is small, volatile, water soluble, and these molecules are dispersed in the environment to attract the mate. Okay, to ensure the survival of offspring. Okay, these are the action or the routine that the animals done in order to make sure their offspring are in safe condition. Okay, so these are the example of giant water bug. Okay, where these organisms exhibit parental care to ensure the survival of offspring. So how these organisms do? They produce offspring in a very few number. Okay, but it provide greater parental protection. So the female will glue the fertilized egg to the back of the body, okay, of the male body, and so the male carries them for days, frequently fanning water over them to keep the eggs moist. So normally the male will go into the water to make sure that the egg will have the water moving over them to keep the egg moist, aerated and free of parasite. So this is one example of parental care. So these are the comparison of internal and external fertilization. So you can see what are the differences between internal and external. For example, one example, the fusion of male and female gamete happen inside the female body. But for external, the fusion of male and female happen outside of the female body. So when the question asks, give the differences or comparison between the internal and fertilization, you may give any point from this. Let's say the mark is 5 mark. Make sure you have 5 points for internal fertilization and 5 points for external fertilization. Each point will carry 0.5 mark. Normally the marking system is like that. Okay, now we go into modes of animal development. We have 3 modes: oviparity, ovoviviparity, and viviparity. Okay, what is oviparity? So normally these modes of reproduction is used among the reptiles and birds. So this happen when the undeveloped eggs, okay, remember the undeveloped eggs, meaning the offspring inside the egg is not developed well, okay. So this egg is already expelled by the mother. So the eggs may have been fertilized internally before release as used by many birds and reptiles. For example, tortoise hatchling. So when these tortoise they hatch eggs, the eggs needs time for the offspring to release or to hatch from the eggs and then can live young. Okay, it takes time, like chicken. Okay. The other is ovoviviparity. So the young grow in eggs inside the mother's body and the mother gives birth to live young. So this is internal fertilization. No placenta connection and the unborn will get the nutrition from the egg yolk. Example is snake. So for viviparity, where the development of the embryo is happen inside the body of mother, eventually leading to live birth. So this is another internal fertilization. So the growing embryo will derive continuous nourishment from the mother, usually through a placenta. So mostly happen in mammals. So you have to differentiate between viviparity, okay, ovoviviparity and the oviparity. Okay, in order to understand these three types of modes of development, okay, you may have to know the examples of the organism that do this system. Okay, for example, for ovoviviparity, snake, and viviparity is most of the mammals, including human. Okay.